Unitarian Universalism is unambiguously, unapologetically progressive. This church affirms the inherent worth and dignity of all people through anti-racism, anti-oppression, supporting the LGBTQIA+ community, working for reproductive justice, voting rights, and other issues as needed. We seek to build beloved community not only here but also out in our surrounding area, and we bring a spirit of joy to it all. And now we have a special choir performance. And now please rise, either in body or in spirit, for our opening hymn, number 299, Make Channels for the Streams of Love. Streams of Love.
Of love, where they may broadly run. Good morning and welcome to Live Oak Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Mark Anderson, and one thing I love about Live Oak is how my mind is continuously being challenged. I'd like to welcome our guest today. If this is your first time here, please stop by the visitors table so that we can meet you and answer any questions you might have. As part of our mission, we want to enhance connections between each of us and also with the outside world. You can stay connected with everything happening at Live Oak through our weekly email newsletter. There's a link to that newsletter on our homepage. And during this worship service, there's no need to put your phone away. We encourage you to post on social media things you hear today and maybe even an invitation for a friend to join you next week. Today, our chalice is being lit by Arden and Lucian. And now, here and at home, let us light our chalices, with these words by Laura Horton Ludwig. Fire and water, ancient opposites, sun and sand, the cradle of life. Dancing flame and dancing river, we invoke them together today as we kindle our chalice flame. Thanks, guys. And now our affirmation of covenant. This is a congregation bound not by creed, but by covenant. May those in agreement affirm this covenant now. We affirm a caring community of and for all ages, seeking wisdom, doing service, and living with integrity. In our diversity, our covenant holds us in unity as we celebrate our shared spiritual journey.
A special part of Unitarian Universalist Sunday services is our time of sharing joys and sorrows. I think of it as the time when we keep vigil for one another, when we give one another the gift of being present for those of us who have had some special milestone in their personal lives or some particular joy or sorrow that they want to share with the congregation. And today, Catherine Inyart shares the sorrow for her former co-worker who is in the final stages of bone cancer. His name is Phil. Please keep him in your thoughts. Tracy and Jonathan Norwood share the joy that today is their 18th wedding anniversary. I guess that means your marriage can vote or something. Curtis White shares, excited to announce that and it's okay, guys, it's okay. Excited to announce that I will be the new head choir director at Lively Middle School in AISD, and he still gets to be music director for Live Oak. Yay, growth. And often what is heavy on our hearts are our own fears that we have fallen short. We know that we have left undone those things which we ought to have done, and we have done those things which we ought not to have done. May we have the courage to be honest with ourselves, the willingness to make amends, and the compassion to accept forgiveness from others and from ourselves, trusting in the assurance that imperfection is expected, and love is the guiding and healing force with which we can align our lives. I would like to invite any children, any youth, any children of all ages who would like to come forward to do so now. Okay, so I got a question for you. I hope that this is not a difficult one. Does anyone know what my job is called? Reverend, that's my title, so that's very close. Minister, right. In other religions, do they have other names for someone who's like a minister?
I'm pretty sure another name is a priest.
Priest, exactly. Any other? Pope? Yes, that's like the head, Rabbi, exactly. We have a rabbi right here in our own building because we share, for those who don't know, this building shares its space, including us, with 4 congregations. Any others? Pastor, you ever hear people talk about pastor? Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about what I do and including kind of what I wear. First of all, what do you think a minister does? Boy, I'm opening myself up for this, aren't I?
Maybe help in the chants and actually lead the actual other people in the church.
Yes, I help. And actually what I would say is not so much that I lead the people in the church as I help develop the leadership, because we got some amazing leaders here of all ages.
Preach.
Preach, yes. Anything else? Anything else? Okay. Well, we're going to get back to that. So, first of all, some stuff that I'm wearing here. Now, who knew our intern minister, Carrie? Anyone know her? Right. And she often wore this, or her version of this. What's this called? It's real simple. Don't overthink it. A robe, yes. And in our tradition, the reason why we wear a robe is because we are the tradition of what is called the learned clergy. What that means is I went to a special school to learn how to become a minister. And so Carrie, since she's in one of those special schools, she would also wear a robe. Now, who knows what this is called? A stole. Very good. Oh, a shawl. Well, it's like that, but it's called a stole. But yes, it is a kind of a shawl. Is that what you were saying? Scarf. Yes. All good words for it. But this kind of scarf is called a clergy stole. And Carrie did not wear it, but I did. Because when you become a UU minister, the last kind of thing that you do before they say, yes, you're a minister, is you get ordained. So when I graduated from that special school, I still couldn't wear this. And then I had to go in front of a group of people who got to decide if I was ready to be a minister. And they said yes, but I still could not wear this. It was only when a congregation just like this one, has all the power. And it is not until a Unitarian Universalist minister goes in front of that and they say, we ordain you, that you can wear the stole. Okay, so who knows what this is a symbol of? Chalice, flaming chalice. A chalice. Now look really close at it. So you see like the flaming chalice, but what else do you see? 2 rings. What do those rings stand for? Anyone? Unitarian and Universalism. Yeah. You have one too. That's great. And a little detail, the chalice, is it dead in the center? Like right in the center? No. It's offset, and that's actually really important because what it means is that we draw wisdom from all the world and we don't even put our own chalice in the very center because we want to symbolize that we are still learning and growing. Okay. Y'all don't always see this. So who knows what that means? What that symbolizes? To get my neck straight. Yes, I've also heard the joke that it keeps fleas and ticks away for, 6 weeks. It doesn't, in point of fact. To make sure I don't lick myself. Okay, anyone else? do, you do. Okay, so what this means is it means that I am a minister. And all different kinds of ministers may wear this. And so there's all different kinds of ministers, right? And there's some ministers who don't kind of have the same values we do. Now, what's a value? Anyone?
So in I'm not relating this to church. In math terms, it is like 1 or like 5. 1 is a value of 3 is a value of 6.
Okay. So let me, we may go somewhere with that though. Yes. It's what you believe in. It is what is important. And so math-wise, I would assume the value is pretty important, right? I'm trying, guys. And so our values may be different among ministers. And so because of that, whenever I'm wearing this out in public, I always wear this. Now, what does this mean? It's for pride. Anyone else?
I think it's a badge like an award.
A badge or an award. You know, you could kind of say that in terms of this sends the message to people who are LGBTQIA+, lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, intersex, etc. And it says this is something we believe in too. And so that's why you will often see it around our church, that you're safe here. And so that means that we all have to do the work to make sure that someone really is safe here. Okay, last thing. I'm going to point way over there. Can you grab that for me? The chair. And some of our older ones may know what this is and where it is. Does anyone know about this? It is Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh. Okay, we're all in consensus here. It is Winnie the Pooh on the chair. So I came here 9 years ago, and my first service, I brought this out, and I explained that this would be in my study here in the church, because I'm a minister, and a minister is also someone that you can come and talk to, and I'm not just her minister or his minister, I'm your minister too. And so if you ever want to talk to me, you can get your parent or grandparent or whoever you come with to contact me and say, Jackie would like to have a conversation. Can we set up a meeting? And now, since it's been 9 years, there are kids who have sat in this chair who are now teenagers, or even some who are going off to college, and you don't have to sit in this chair. But this is a way, just like all of this is symbolic, this is a way of symbolizing that there is always a place for you, and I'm your minister too, and if you need me, I'm there. So thank you for coming up and helping me explain to everyone what a minister is.
I have a question.
Yeah. Yep, if you pull it, it plays music, but I'm not going to do that right now.
I have a question.
Yes.
If I have a chance to bring my little cousin Susie to church,
Mm-hmm.
can you leave that chair out for her because she loves me?
I can do that. If you bring cousins or friends or anyone and they want to come and see this chair, they are absolutely invited to do so. We'll talk after the service.
And now for our reading. All Water is One Water by Mel Hoover and Rose Eddington. Water unites us. All water is one water, shape-shifting as it goes on and on in its unending cycle. The stream we gather by unites us with all the waters of the world, for all life depends on water. That's why this common, everyday element on which our very lives depend is sacred. In our thankfulness for water, let us remember to honor, cherish, and care for it. For our own lives, for all life touched by water, and for those who come after us.
And now would you please rise in body or in spirit for our hymn, The River.
Good morning. Ooh, okay. Good morning. Mike, do you mind going to the next slide for me? I just want to introduce the chorus to you all. I welcome you to try to sing the verses with us, but the choir is going to lead us on the verses, but you're all welcome to sing with us for the chorus. Daria, could we do like the intro and then choir? Can we sing just the chorus twice for the congregation? Okay?
Water, heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down, down to the water, by the water I feel whole.
And it repeats.
Water, heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down, down to the water, by the water I feel whole.
We'll stop there so we can restart the song together. Thank you.
When
So back in the 1950s and 1960s, if you were a Unitarian or a Universalist, or after 1961 when we consolidated, a Unitarian Universalist, you probably assumed that your name was on a list with the FBI. You can laugh, but that was just sort of the open assumption. And it was not because they were paranoid. During the times of the Red Scare, McCarthyism, J. Edgar Hoover being the head of the FBI, this is something that was happening. Now, one of the kind of side effects of that is that those Unitarian Universalist congregations forged very deep bonds. I know we have some people in here who were UU at that time, and probably you still have friends. I know that my parents had lifelong friends that began in the 1950s. Because when you came together knowing that your values were at odds with the wider society, it meant that when you came together into a Unitarian Universalist congregation, you could, to a certain extent, do that thing, right? Where you relax your shoulders, where you're not constantly on guard. And they knew that when they came to a Unitarian Universalist church, to a large extent, they felt that they could be their authentic selves. See, this wider thing, again, the Red Scare and everything else that was going on, liberals, and that's what we were called back in that day, liberals were looked at with suspicion. Simply to be a Unitarian Universalist meant that you would be suspected of being a civil rights agitator, or an anti-war activist, and or a communist. Because what was the adjective that went along at that time with communist? Godless. And the Unitarian Universalists were known for being a religion where you didn't have to believe in God. You could be an atheist. I will tell you, after being a year on TikTok talking about us, it is still a wild idea for some people. But if you were an atheist, it was assumed you were a communist. And at that time, that was the big boogeyman that our society was putting out there right now, the thing to be afraid of. And so people built these deep, rich communities, not only because they shared the same values, even if they had different beliefs, but because in a Unitarian Universalist congregation, that is where you could come together with other people who had the same values as you did and were putting those values out into action. So here we are in 2023 in Texas. 744 new laws started, except for the ones thankfully held up in the courts this past Friday. Did you know that? 744. And a whole lot of them really, really terrible ones. And if you feel attacked when you read about these new laws, you absolutely should. Because it is our religious values that are being attacked. Healthcare for trans youth. Book bannings now are being made into the law. You can't teach about equity, diversity, inclusion in public universities. Of course we feel attacked. But we can learn from these people that came before us, these Unitarian Universalists, with how they built community and what they did with that community. We can become, and I think we already are to a certain extent, the place where when you come here, you know that what is asked of you is to be your authentic self, and we are going to celebrate that with you. And you also know that those values we hold, that we are going to reinforce those, and we're going to talk about, okay, the job is ours to do. How do we take those outside of this building and fight back? How do we change this? It is a precious thing to be a religious community, and that is what we are. I know sometimes, I've talked before about how I'll have someone who's been a Unitarian Universalist for 30 years, and they will tell me that they are not religious. And I'm like, Agnes, you've been president of the church, worship chair, you've run the church garage sale. Unitarian Universalism is a religion. You're religious. We are a religious community. Today, that's what we're going to be celebrating. We have 4 rituals that we do every year. This is one of them. It is called our water ceremony or water communion. And each of these ceremonies lifts up some aspect of being a community, because you see, for us, community is a religious value. Unitarian Universalist theologian James Luther Adams talked about it in terms of a voluntary coming together, of building community. Has anyone ever heard that term, chosen family? I think many of us have heard it, probably even used it, right? It's where you have people in your life who, because their relationship with you is so deep, they are closer to being family than friends. This is a chosen village. We all live in very different places, right? Round Rock in the house. Got some Round Rock people. Leander in the house. Pflugerville, Laga Vista, Austin, Lakeway. Have I missed one? Cedar Park. Literally where this church is located. So we all have these different addresses, and yet this is our chosen village. As you heard with me talking to the kids, this is where we raise our children. We go to each other's weddings. We go to each other's funerals. We dedicate ourselves to the children of our congregation with our child dedication ceremony, and we care for each other. And we do the hard work that is no less than trying to save the world together. Like I said, those Unitarian Universalists of the 50s and 60s were not being paranoid. And in subsequent years, the information has come out proving that. Yes, they absolutely were being watched. Who knows the term COINTELPRO? Right, anyone want to say what that stood for? Yes, it was the FBI's counterintelligence program. Supposedly it ended in 1971, but it was where they targeted specific groups. They spied on them. They sent in infiltrators. And we had so many UUs that were civil rights workers. They were part of the American Indian movement. They were part of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. They were fighting anti-Vietnam. They were war protesters. They were in feminist organizations. During the 1960s, this is a quote, the FBI targeted the entire Unitarian Society of Cleveland because some of its members had called for the abolition of the House Un-American Activities Committee, HUAC. First Unitarian Church of Los Angeles and Reverend Stephen Fritschman were targeted for their political stances. Local and federal Red Squads were targeting churches. The Reverend David Easton, pastor of All Souls Unitarian Church, was later awarded an $80,000 settlement along with others for them violating his rights through their undercover surveillance. And this is just a taste. There are so many stories of this. There's still stories that are told in older UU congregations about how the FBI agents weren't just watching, they were infiltrating. They were sitting in the pews, although what I have heard most often anecdotally from the people who were there at the time was that they knew that because they would come to church all dressed up in suits. I don't think, I don't want to speak for you. Overall, though, I don't think being on an FBI list is really something that any of us are worried about because the internet has been invented, and I think we're all convinced that we're all, privacy doesn't happen, and we're all probably on a million lists. But those you use at the time, they knew what was happening, and they did the work anyway, because they knew that if they didn't do it, who would? Today I'm going to invite you in just a minute to come forward for our water communion. And for those who haven't experienced it before, what happens is I'm sure we have some people who have actually brought some water from a travel that they did this past year or maybe from their kitchen sink. I'm going to, first of all, in fact, I'll do it right now, I'm going to be pouring in, this is water from last year's water communion. There's a continuity to this tradition. And if you didn't bring any water, that is okay. We have a pitcher right there. It will be symbolic water. What I want you to think about is, where is your water from? It can literally be from another place that you have visited, or symbolically it may be. Think about that. When you come forward, we're going to have the microphone down here. Just briefly say where it's from, and then give one word or one phrase of something that you have gained this past year, some attribute, some bit of wisdom that you bring to this congregation. Because you see, this is the symbolism of the water community, that we all have our individual journeys that we are on, but we combine them and they create part of our communal journey. Every bit of wisdom that you have gained has the potential to change this church. And I invite you to come forward now. And this is from the water fountain in Chicago outside the Parliament of World Religions. And what I would like to contribute that I think I'm gaining this year is courage.
This water from my fish tank.
Nice. You can bring it over here into the big bowl. We can use this for the kids. And pour it in there.
Local water, new water bottle I'm going to be taking on my trip to Egypt in March. And my word is healing.
This is from my backyard pool, which is a source of comfort for me during this time. And my learning this year has been joining in the community of advocates down at the Capitol, the Texas UU Justice Ministry, finding a larger community filled with joy despite the challenges.
We've brought water from our personal filtration system that we have carried with us everywhere we've lived. So it's just home water. And what have we learned this year that we bring to our community?
Honesty.
This water is symbolically of a trip that we took to Rochester, and we dropped off our son to go to college. And the word is transitions.
I didn't bring any water. My hair's still wet from showering, and I'm here with a 2-year-old, so I'm going to bring the same word that I brought last year, which is patience.
Finding you. This is from the condensation from my new AC this week.
This is from my new home, and what I've learned is to embrace change.
We brought water from our community pool, and Dom says that represents love and life.
This is water from my altar, and I would say this year has been about perspective.
From San Marcos, learning to be grandparents.
From my kitchen water filter, embracing joy.
This is water from our home, which has been our safe haven these months, and the word is community, becoming part of this UU church.
This is blue moon water, and the word is tolerance for a variety of things, including the weather.
This water stands in for the water outside the Modern Art Museum in Fort Worth. It stands for tranquility and wonder.
This is from my sink, which is actually from Lake Travis, and I found this church this year.
I just wanted to say, like, one thing that I learned this year is preservation.
Nice.
This is water from my hometown, and my word is connection.
And where's your hometown?
Minden in Germany.
This stands in for lake water from Lake Sarah in Effingham, Illinois.
This water is from a new small solar fountain in our backyard, and my word is delicacy.
This water is from Lake Superior and cool and calming.
I didn't have any water to bring today. I didn't realize this was going to be happening today. I lost track of it. But that's sort of appropriate because what I'm putting in is the courage to maybe trust people again.
Courage to trust.
And accept from others.
My metaphorical water is from Seattle. It was a big accomplishment for me this year, and my word is connection and community. I couldn't decide.
So where's the water from, and what does it symbolize for you? Go ahead. Oh, that's okay. We can pour it. Yeah, please do.
All life came from the sea. Perhaps we shall return there someday, but in the meantime, it's the solvent that washes away all illusions of separateness and unites us. And I'm just glad to be a part of this wonderful community.
Okay. So, is there a word that you want to share? No? Okay. You want to just pour this in?
I don't have any water, but the word I want to share is loss and gain.
That's good. Thank you.
You're not allowed to bring water back on an international flight. We went to Mexico City this summer, and I wanted to bring back the fountain water from the Basilica de Guadalupe. I will say I learned nothing makes you more empathetic to the immigrant experience than going to a country that doesn't speak English. So, struggle was the word, I guess.
This is Home Water from Cedar Park, and my word is persistence.
This water is symbolic of water from a neighbor's fountain that they have outside their house, and for me, it represents appreciating the little things in life.
I wholly forgot to bring water, but I have a jar of water that is, I call it chaos water. I made it like 2 Halloweens ago, you know, like the day before Halloween that like people like do pranks on. It's great. I use it for when I want to shake things up. Okay? But the words I was gonna say is assuredness, I guess, and like accepting of my actions and my decisions, like my decision to be here.
I didn't bring any water, but I'm pouring this symbolically. I went on a trip home to my home country of Germany this year, but I went to the eastern part, which I have never seen because I grew up in the West when East Germany was still communist. So that was my first cultural experience in the East, now 20 years later after reunification. So my words will be hope and change can take place. Consciousness of nations can change.
So this summer I was very grateful for ice, so I'm going to have symbolic ice. I fell down 3 days ago and there was blood all over my face, and it's much better now because of ice. And also all the ice my kids used in the summer to get to withstand the heat of Texas. So I was grateful for ice. This is symbolic ice.
This water is symbolic for connection. My wife and I are coming up on, I guess, almost a year now of being members of the church, and connection has been wonderful, so thank you.
Hi, it's our first time here, and we have some water from our fridge filter, and we're just here to make friends. Joe, can you say friends?
Awesome. Yeah, just a word in there.
You can pour some water while I say something. This water symbolizes water from Lake Michigan. We took a trip to Chicago, where I was born, this summer, and my children got to spend time with their extended family. And that lesson that I learned and that I carry forward into the congregation is patience.
This water will symbolize the acceptance of the passage of time.
Oh, go ahead.
Lindy couldn't be here. This is water from our pool. It's her sacred place where she gets to relax a little bit, and for me, the word really is continuing.
Well, and We now bless these waters, and as we are blessed by one another and the sharing of our spiritual journeys in this community, so we bless this water as a symbol of our gathered community. May we use it in the year to come as a symbol of our continuing commitment to one another and to the greater forces that sustain life. And for those who don't know, we literally use it. It'll be boiled for sterilization practices. We use it as part of our baby or child dedication. By the way, if you would like to dedicate your child, have a conversation with me about that. And now I invite you to join me in a time of reflection in word and in silence. You and I and all of us blew about with the winds of summer, following the sun in different ways of freedom and play, finding rest in the cool stillness of shadows, and moving to the slow, heat-struck rhythms which turn the long hours of summer light. And now it is a time for gathering in. We come together at this time and in this place on the bridge of autumn, which I ask you right now, as hot as it is, to take with me as a moment of faith. Summer is fading backward into memory. We hold the hope of a cool autumn to come. We meet with eagerness and delight, needing one another for sharing. We have joys and sorrows and hopes to share, questions, things we care about and want to help make better, things that we would like to understand, ideas waiting to be heard. Together we are together in gladness. Once more, the special community that we call our church. A community of all ages that sings its songs, tells its thoughts, asks its questions, and searches together with courage and with love. And let's hold that for a moment in sacred stillness. Amen, and blessed be.
We are the tradition of the Free Church. Our church and our community outreach are supported not from an outside source, but from within. Generosity, therefore, is one of the spiritual values we recognize as central to our personal and our institutional well-being. We share what is offered every week with an organization that upholds our Unitarian Universalist values. This month, Live Oak is empowering the dreams of the House of Friends, an adult care program offered free of charge to individuals with dementia who are being cared for at home by family members. This morning, Susie Peterson, the director of House of Friends, is here to give us a brief overview of this organization.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Thank you. I love that phrase, on the bridge of autumn, right? Cooling for us all. I am Susie Peterson, and I am the director of House of Friends. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. I've just loved this service. Thank you for designating our nonprofit as a Share the Plate recipient this month. Thank you so much. So I don't know if you can see across here, but I'm wearing hearts around my neck here. Certainly I've got this beating heart. I'm wearing these to emphasize my passion for House of Friends, to honor those I love living with one of the many forms of memory loss, and to remember my family and friends who lived with dementia and have died Perhaps you too know someone dear who is living or has lived with a form of dementia. So 3 words describe a House of Friends: care, community, and love. House of Friends, we use the acronym HOF, is an adult care and a community outreach program of Bethany Methodist Church. We provide services to families all the way north to Georgetown, as far south to Kyle. That's a 30-plus mile radius. We don't discriminate on sexual orientation, faith, gender, etc. We're now in our 19th year. We offer a service free of charge, as Mark had mentioned, to those who have memory loss and are being cared for at home by family members. We have a weekly program that meets on Thursdays that gives the family members a 3-hour respite, a break from caregiving to run errands, meet with friends, or simply to take a nap. Our wonderful volunteers buddy with supported participants in the session, so volunteers are key. Activities include a variety of different things through that 3 hours. We do a lot of guided reminiscing. We have games, singing, dancing, worship, exercise, snacks. Smiles and joy characterize these gatherings of about 25 to 30 persons. Deep fellowship, deep friendships develop. In addition, we also have a Tuesday bingo group that meets for casual conversation and gameplay. So as part of, there's an application process to ensure that there's the services that we provide are meet the needs of the family or the individual with dementia. I do home visits. This strengthens our relationship and is key to understanding families' care needs. Our program goals are to engage participants socially, physically, intellectually, and spiritually in a safe and loving environment, and to give emotional and spiritual support to the families so that facility care for a loved one can be postponed or perhaps not at all. There's also a linked dementia support group, and I'm a co-facilitator of that, and it meets twice a month. And that also is a safe community place to be supported and to learn about dementia and care. So House of Friends is funded. It is a self-sustaining program. We're funded by contributions, we get some grants, and we have an annual fundraiser. Bethany provides the program space and in-kind support. However, we receive absolutely no monetary funding from Bethany. We welcome your donations. That is how we're able to fund our snacks, our paper goods, our craft supplies, office supplies, to name a few of our expenses that we have. So currently a current need, and I would call it a critical need, is more volunteers. We need men and women. We need mature youth as well. We've had youngsters really that are 10 that have volunteered when they've had time in their schedules. And we've had teenagers. We've had college students and graduate students. So looking for those people, and especially men, who don't always see themselves in this role. But we have a waiting list to join our program, to be supported in our program. We can't add those people to our program until we have more volunteers. I wanted to give a shout out to Mark, who's been up here leading this service. I think he's a Mark E. Is that correct? And Mark has been a longtime volunteer of House of Friends, and we became connected when his wife, who has now passed away, was supported in House of Friends. So I wanted to give you just a couple things that people say about House of Friends. One volunteer has said, "I love House of Friends because of the people. It makes me very happy to be there with everyone. It's truly a house of friends." A supported member, a person that is supported, that is on an early mid-stage memory loss, says, "I love the music, exercise, dancing, and just taking part in things." And a family member, because we're serving families, the family caregiver says, "The volunteers lighten the conversation. How life-giving is the laughter. It has been a blessing that we found House of Friends." So I invite all of you to visit House of Friends. You too will be blessed by our community of love and care. Thank you. And Mark had mentioned that I could add that I'm going to be out at your visitor center. I have a sign-up sheet if you'd like to just come visit our program, or if you have need of our services. So you could sign up there, and I have some brochures as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susie. May an offering be received in gratitude and love.
Our Director of Band Faith Development, Chris Jarman, is out sick today, so I get to introduce our Faith Development Hour. Part of being a chosen village is getting to know each other. This congregation is, as you may have seen, intentionally intergenerational. Today, after the service, the nursery will be open, but for everyone older than nursery age and for all adults, we're going to meet up in the fellowship hall for some getting to know each other games. And now, would you please rise as you are willing and able for our closing hymn, "My Life Flows On in Endless Songs."
Life goes on in endless song.
is a joy to be together. It is a joy to be a community. And I am looking forward to getting to know more about you since I've shared some stuff about who I am, at least as a minister. So I look forward to seeing you out in the fellowship hall. May you know joy beyond measure. May you distribute love extravagantly, ever assured that even on hard days, even during the heat we are going through, and even through living in Texas, life is a blessing. Go in peace.
And now if I could ask Arden to come back up and extinguish the chalice, and Lucian. Let us say these words to each other. We extinguish this chalice flame, daring to carry forward the vision of this free faith, that freedom, reason, and justice will one day prevail in this nation and across the earth. And now, as we depart, we extend and receive the gift of hospitality by taking the first 5 minutes to talk to someone whom we don't yet know well. May we all know the blessings of friendship and community.